feel bad for you.
I don't think about you at all.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. And you know, the funny part about some of the videos I do is that I explain things, or I feel compelled to want to explain things. And for the people who regularly listen to this channel, you don't need the explanation. You're already there. The people who regularly listen to this channel will agree and disagree with me on a regular basis with a variety of topics. And you're all comfortable with the idea that we'll disagree. And, if we ever saw each other at a convention, we'd still buy each other beer, laugh, and have a good time because, we're grown adults who disagree and it doesn't become the battle lines of everything. But anyway, I'll do this video and I'll explain it. And again, for 98% of you, this is an irrelevant video, but I hope it provides some nuance or I hope it gives you something. I don't want to just be talking into thin air for no reason. So I don't remember the video. I've done a few in my time doing this YouTube around the concept of they don't hate you. And it's one of those ones where there's been a lot of confusion and a lot of people disagreeing with me. No, they definitely hate me. And there are a variety. But the basic premise of my topic is that, we're kind of told to believe that creators are going on social media and not and when I say creators, again, it's a few. It really is not a ton. And I'll just do it from a Perch dad kind of math kind of way. You have Marvel alone publishing 70 plus comics. You have DC publishing less than that, but a pretty high number. You have Image doing a ton of comics. You have all told, you'd get 400 to 500 comics a month coming out. And each one of those comics, you have a penciler, an inker, so usually the same person. You have a writer, you have a colorist, you have an editor, you have a cast of in many cases 10 people per comic. Now, a lot of those people do multiple comics, but all the same, if you just do the math here, 400 times 10, what do you got? You got like if you're 4,000 individuals. Now, again, there's a lot of crossover. People, one writer's doing 4 books, whatever. But let's cut that number in 1/4 of that number, which is too much of. But that's 1,000 people. Of the 1,000 people doing comics every month, how many of them are acting like crazy jackasses on Twitter, now Blue Sky? Like not 1,000. You're lucky if you get to 50. It's a small number. If you notice, the people being crazy assholes are the same people over and over and over. And in many cases, the people who are being the craziest of assholes aren't doing any comics that month because, they've got other things to do, i.e. they're so toxic that even the publishers who put up with all kinds of shit don't deal with them. But anyway, they call people names, they call people Nazis, they call people toxic fans, they taunt them, they make jokes, they go on and on and on. Talk about hitting people in the teeth with a baseball bat 8 years ago. This stuff happens. And I maintained, they don't hate you. They don't personally hate you. And somebody, every now and then this comes up. So in a recent video, somebody's like, they go, well, if you ever had a chance to ask Mark Waid, like if you were in an elevator with Mark Waid and you hit the stop button, you got a chance to ask him a question, would you ask him, do you hate fans or not? Like, would you confront him directly with this? And as it so happens, I have talked to Mark Waid. I didn't block him in an elevator, but I've talked to Mark Waid. I've talked to Mark Brooks. I've talked to a few people at various times over the years. I've talked to Matt Fraction. I've talked to Kelly Sue. And I'd asked this question, like, these people really get under your skin, don't they? As a way of kind of saying, I'm kind of doing the same argument in reverse. It's like these fans who are pissed and yelling at you for, whatever it is that is going on at this point. You made Hawkeye a drunken cuck or, whatever it happens to be. Do you really like these fans you must really be pissed at these fans. And this is the part I'm trying to communicate that I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this one. I don't know why it's important to me that you understand, but I really want you to understand this one because this is a case where I was offended on your behalf, the fans' behalf. I was angry and irritated on behalf of the fans because of the answer I got. And when I've tried to communicate this, people want to hold on to the idea that, you've got this handful of creators or this group of creators out there who truly hate, who plot to get revenge or hate the fans, who truly have strong emotion for the fans, and that's what people are clinging on to. And what I'm about to tell what I'm telling you is it's much worse than that. It is worse, but I guess it all depends on your point of view. And it's this: the people who are saying, you're a Nazi, that have, taunted and joked and poked fun at fans on social media and all the rest. I'm not going to deny there. I'm sure there's some people out there who have seething hatred. I'm sure, because nothing is absolute. There's nothing. There's never. No, there's never zero. There's always somebody out there. But the people I've talked to, what they have expressed directly is not hatred. It's indifference. You, the people they're insulting, are not their mortal enemy. You're an ant. You're a speck of dust. You are irrelevant to them. They are indifferent to you. They are joking about you because they don't even think you're a functional human being. They think you're just dots on a screen. In many cases, they don't really even contemplate that you're real. In a lot of cases, for people who are truly kind of bent out of shape and nuts, they believe that they are at the peak of their popularity. They basically are writing this comic book. They have their name on the cover. They go into a comic store, or they go into a comic con, and they're able to sit up on a stage and be a celebrity. And in a lot of cases, the people who are the most vile on social media are also hardcore the most arrogant. They are the ones who are thoroughly in love with the smell of their own farts. They are the ones who are absolutely of the belief that they are at the top of the world. They are the arrogant pricks that exist. And keep in mind, it's a few. It's not the majority. If you ever get a chance, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. If you ever get the chance to meet Jim Zub, and there's many people, by the way, I don't mean to constantly fluff Zub. Zub is goddamn nicest guy he is so nice. Just nice. I know that it's a stereotype, the nice Canadian guy, but Jesus, he is a nice guy. He's like the nicest guy you ever met. I think you could go up and kind of insult him, and unless he was having a real bad day, Zub would be like, well, sorry you feel that way, but here's a coffee. He's a nice guy. And so you got to understand there's those people out there who are just nice, but there's other people out there who are arrogant pricks. And they exist in every industry, every job. No matter what you do in your life, some arrogant asshole. These are the people who believe the world revolves around them, believes that everybody should bow down to them, believes, that they can control whatever narrative comes their way. And they believe that you are nothing. Maybe that's a different form of hatred, depending on how you look at it. But the challenge is that we're led to believe, in a lot of cases, by people on YouTube, people on Twitter, that these comic creators have it in for you, that they've got a secret vendetta against you, that they are actually doing things intentionally to screw with you. And the truth is, for me, in my opinion, the truth is much worse. The truth is they don't think about you at all. They think you are nothing. They think you're insignificant. It's why it's so easy to call you a Nazi because, frankly, They have no meaning or no weight behind that. They don't see a human being behind those words. When they call you that, they're not thinking, haha, I'm going to ruin this guy's life. They don't even think there is a guy that they're insulting. They're just throwing words out because it's amusing in that moment while they're typing that tweet on the toilet. Like literally, that's all you mean to them. You're a nothing. And that's not as exciting. It's harder mentally to grapple with the idea that you've got somebody who's actually out to be your enemy. You've got somebody who is so arrogant and so, full of himself that you don't even matter in the first place. That you are literally nothing. And so it's important for me to kind of throw it out this way. I've done videos on this subject before. I've tried to explain it, and I had this moment of clarity of kind of the topic, because when I would hear this, when I talk to some of these people directly, and they would say, those probably aren't even people. They're like Russian bots that I'm responding to. At the time, my thought was, offense. And a lot of that is because of my role in this whole chain. As a retailer, I sell these books. So to me, you, the customer, are very much the lifeblood to keeping the lights on in the store, keeping the business open. I don't, you have a different relationship to me. I don't think all of you are nice. Some of you are nice. Some of you are indifferent. Some of you are mean. All people are all kinds of things. I don't consider every customer that comes through the door my friend, but I do consider everybody who comes into the door and spends money with me part of the lifeblood of having this business. So that's what you mean to me. You mean survival. And so when I heard this, I was so offended, because to me, as the person, like the creator, going, "Yeah, I hate those fans," would have been better. It would have been much better. That it's like, this guy still would have been crazy, but like if you hear, a half-rate comic artist that every now and then does a variant cover, who acts like he's got the tiniest dick in the world and has to prove it. I mean, you hear this guy say stuff like this, and you go, if you had said something like, "Yeah, I really hate these guys. Oh man, someday I'm gonna get them arrested because these guys need to be put in jail. I hate them." I would have been like, "Wow, this guy's nuts." But instead, to hear I don't, I don't even think they're real. I think this is just, I once heard the theory floated by, and I'm not making this up, that Chip Zdarsky was actually several of these angry, in the words of the creator, angry trolls who were deliberately, screwing with the comic creator, just to have a laugh because he's a practical joker. Like they believed that, and I can remember Captain Cummings, I think. I don't know. It wasn't him. It was one of the early Comicsgate guys, like early being like 2015 or 2016. I wasn't coming. It was one of those. It was in that era though. They believed that guy was Chip Zdarsky. Like that's Chip Zdarsky fucking around. That person isn't even real. The indifference bothered me more because it was like, I was talking to a person who couldn't even contemplate that there might be something wrong with their work that somebody would critique it. They were so arrogant and egotistical that they assumed that any criticism of their work had to be an actual fictional non-person because no one could actually criticize them. I'll tell you, I don't know this firsthand, but when I've talked to people who know Nick Lowe, they say that's exactly the attitude he has for people. And why he got so bent out of shape at conventions is because he was confronted with actual like human beings. And so it baffled him that there were actual living people who were upset. I'll tell you, there were plenty of people at Marvel who believed that the Peter should get back with MJ. We don't like One More Day was like 3 or 4 angry people with like 100 sock puppet accounts. I'm serious. To me, and this is my bit, not yours, it's my opinion, you can take it or leave it, that attitude, the indifferent attitude, was so infinitely worse than the hatred. that I hear, and I've become very cynical about the entire argument, the entire game, because when somebody's like, "Hey, they hate you," you know, please send super chats and fund my project. It feels like just another part of the game. It doesn't feel like like the people are making like if you are on your 400th video about woke creator hates you, I've started to think you don't actually believe that. I think you're just trying to make quick cash, and it's a way to do it because the algorithm and YouTube rewards you for doing that. So the they hate you game feels like one scam on top of another scam. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like layers of bullshit when the reality is much simpler and much dumber and much worse. At the end of the day, and I'll get philosophical for just a second, and we'll call this an end forever on the topic. Um, at the end of the day, if you are given the amazing opportunity to create something for people, a lot of us create things, whether you doodle while you're on the phone or you've got some boring job and you have some amazing story. I don't know, in your imagination, whatever it happens to be. A lot of us like have dreams of things we'd like to make and create and send out into the world and the public and how cool would it be? Like there's the thing at the end of the day, how cool would it be to write an issue of Spider-Man? Or if you're an artist, draw an issue of Spider-Man. Wouldn't you love to do that? Hell, I'd love to do that. Like if somebody from Marvel came up like, you know what? You've made all these videos. We're gonna reward you. You get to write one issue of Spider-Man as a reward for all your hard work. I'd be like, fuck yeah, all right. I mean, I'd be honored. Or Batman or X-Men or whatever it happens to be. How cool is it to create work for other people? I think that's amazing, and it's a gift. And if you've been given that gift, I think you owe it to pay that gift back the best way you can. Write the best story you can. Be as humble as you can. Don't just pretend to be humble. Don't walk around bragging about how humble and magnanimous you are while being a prick at the same time. Like the gift of being a creator and being able to provide work for people is magical to me. And to respond to that gift, to pay that gift back with cold indifference. Ugh, it pierces my heart, man. I think what it's like being handed just a very precious thing and spitting at it. And to me, that is why this matters to me, because that is infinitely worse for hatred. And you know that meme, what is it? It's usually about the journalists. It's like you don't hate them enough, and then they put in some hypocritical meme or bullshit about something a journalist has done. If you are angry about anything in comics, indifference should be what you are angry about, because it's somebody who's been given a pretty rare gift that very few of us ever get a chance to have, and care so little about the people reading it that they don't even consider them real. Anyway, that's my point. Again, I'm not saying this to convince you. You do you. It's just this is my thoughts on the subject. I'm not trying to sway your mind. If you're coming in like, let me argue with you, Perch. You don't need to argue with me. I'm very comfortable with you not agreeing with me. Um, that's that at the end of the day, that's what we should do, have our own opinions about things. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for hearing me out.